What's up, everybody? It is True Sage, and yes, even with these purple lights dawning upon my face, it is still pronounced True Sage. Exploring the SCP Foundation, the Scarlet King. So I did say I was going to do a video, or maybe I didn't. I feel like I did. I want to deep dive into more of the Scarlet King, and I believe it's called the Black Moon. I recently reacted to an SCP video talking about some of the most dangerous SCPs you probably never heard of. And the Scarlet King will 100% grasp my interest. There's also a couple of SCP videos you guys recommended to me. I'm gonna try to check it out. Before I checked out some of those videos, I really want to deep dive into the Scarlet King. I've heard other people talk about the Scarlet King. It's like the super all-powerful being, and of course the video that I reacted to, they did pretty much say he was exactly that. I need to see it for myself. So I don't want to waste you guys' time, but shoot the subscribe button. After that, we can get straight into the video.
Extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional threats border on the commonplace in the SCP universe, and the SCP Foundation spends a great amount of time, effort, and resources containing, or at least preventing, these threats from wiping out our existence. There are entities within the SCP universe that we would liken to gods, some of them contained by the Foundation, and some of them...
They have a class, because I reacted to another SCP video, where they broke down the different classes of SCPs. Now, I'll be honest with you, I kind of forgot some of the classes, but I do know there is a class where they kind of specified that there are some SCPs that they just can't stop. I'm pretty sure the Scarlet King belongs in one of those. Or maybe it belongs in the other class. There's a class where there's SCPs they could not stop, theoretically, but they're not really a danger to like society. Like, they gave an example about how some SCPs that may have the ability to destroy the universe if they poop, but they exist in a whole nother dimension, so it's like, you know, there's no point of even trying, so.
I'm not. But one of the most mysterious and potentially world-threatening is the Scarlet King. The Scarlet King is one of the older concepts on the SCP Wiki, but is one largely wrapped up in an air of mystery, with hints of his true nature spread across the site. Due to the lack of canon within the SCP universe, ultimately the Scarlet King is whatever you believe him to be.
Oh, so there's no real... How old is this video?
And perspectives.
Hang on, how old is this fucking video? It was made 5 years ago. Jesus. See, there's every single video I've seen about the Scarlet King is kind of old. You know, it's kind of old. I know Volgom has a video about the SCP Foundation, but it's an hour long. But the problem about his video is that it was made like 4 years ago. So it's still old. I mean, it's been 5 years. There has to have been some sort of like more canon added to the Scarlet King. There has to be.
Related to this eldritch figure. To begin with, we have to go back to where it started, with SCP
Image removed by Order 05.
On the surface, SCP-231 is a young girl, designated 231-7, who is pregnant with some sort of entity. Her and 6 other young girls were found in a police raid on an organization that called itself the Children of the Scarlet King. Each of the girls were pregnant, and 24 hours after the raid, one of the girls went into labor, giving birth to something unknown, which caused hundreds of casualties. The Foundation took over, containing the other 6 girls, but despite their best efforts, each of them expelled increasingly dangerous and horrific entities, the girls dying in the process. Now, only SCP-231-7 remains, and it's the Foundation's belief that if she ever gives birth to whatever's inside of her, it would result in the end of the world. Thus, they instituted daily administrations of Procedure 110 Montauk, believed to be one of the most horrific and cruel processes the Foundation has ever concocted.
They don't have any other SCPs that can stop this?
What it actually is largely a complete mystery, but there are some clues in the documentation. The procedure is performed only by D-class personnel, but specifically non-violent criminals to avoid any of them accidentally killing 231-7. The girl has to be awake and aware of the procedure, and other personnel assigned to the project are routinely swapped out due to the psychological stress, with many of them given memory-wiping amnestics to forget what they've witnessed. Additionally, 231-7's memory is also routinely wiped in order to prevent her from becoming accustomed to the procedure.
I swear, this SCP you're talking about sounds so familiar. I swear I think I may have heard a story about this.
Seems it must be continually horrifying in order to prevent labor. A great amount of discussion
I have heard about this SCP.
Procedure 110 Montauk, but ultimately it's left up to your darkest imagination. A popular tale, Fear Alone, describes a researcher newly transferred to SCP-231 and discovers that Procedure 110 Montauk is not some brutal action inflicted on a child, but is instead a D-class reading a bedtime story to a young girl. The researcher is perplexed, but another doctor reveals that they had carried out horrible actions on the other girls,
SCP,
but it ultimately failed. They instead realized that more important than doing the actions was people believing the actions were being done. The old gods, in this case the Scarlet King, cannot see our reality the same way that we can, so they cannot witness the actions done to SCP-231, but the Scarlet King can sense fear. If enough people believe that Procedure 110 Montauk is some monstrous crime done to a child, the fear carried by those people will satiate the Scarlet King. Again, there's no canon, so you can accept this perspective or not.
I have no choice but to accept it.
Another tale, New Job, gives a slightly different perspective on 231 and their offspring. This tale describes how, when the Foundation first secured the pregnant girls, they also recovered some notebooks written by the priests of the cult of the Scarlet King. These writings made it clear that if all 7 girls gave birth, some sort of apocalypse would occur, presumably involving the Scarlet King. Additionally, the writings also contain detailed instructions on how to carry out Procedure 110 Montauk.
So is there no actual image of a Scarlet King? Like, I know you said that you can take the canon for how you want to take the canon, but is there like legitimately like no real concrete picture of the fucking Scarlet King or what?
Which is the only way to prevent a birth. The Foundation found this suspiciously convenient, as a cult hell-bent on bringing about this apocalypse would have no reason to possess a ritual to prevent it. Further research on the Foundation's part led them to believe that these girls were connected to the 7 brides of the Scarlet King, and that the 7th girl was not like the rest. Rather than giving birth to monsters like the other brides, the 7th gave birth to heroes opposed to the king. The O5 Council ultimately decided to accept this belief and allowed SCP-231-7 to give birth.
I thought that was the one thing it wasn't supposed to do.
SCP-999. SCP-999 can generally be considered one of the nicest and most benevolent.
I know him. That's my cousin. I know him. Yeah, that's that one SCP that's like super nice. That's the SCP I was talking about. They don't have another SCP to come deal with the other ones. That's the one SCP they get, and they put them in like other rooms to go calmly handle other SCPs. So theoretically, could this SCP not work on like, you know, the Black Moon or the Scarlet King? Like, is there a certain amount of power and evilness you can possess to just reject this SCP-09999?
Of these sentient SCPs, an amorphous mass of gelatinous slime that playfully bounces around to give hugs to people, especially those that are unhappy or hurt. Contact with SCP-999 causes an immediate euphoria capable of curing even the most crippling depression, and SCP-999 will also risk itself to protect or rescue others. The tale explains that SCP-999 is the only entity capable of overthrowing the Scarlet King, although it is
So I was right. So the Scarlet King can't resist some tickles and some hugs and kisses. So, but what the fuck is the image right here, man? Like, yeah, I like how he flashes the image on the screen in explanation. Like, is this SCP-9999 about to bust or something? Like, what's going on here?
Currently only a child and will need time to grow to its full strength. The myth of Procedure 110 Montauk is perpetuated
SCP-999
and is the only entity capable of overthrowing the Scarlet King, although it is currently only a child and will need time to grow to its full strength.
I'm talking about SCP-999.
The myth of Procedure 110 Montauk is perpetuated in order to fool the cult of the Scarlet King into thinking the Foundation is playing into their hands. But eventually, a battle will commence between 999 and the Scarlet King. If you believe this tale, at least. But these SCPs and tales don't really give us a good idea.
Did I just hear that fucking right? Go back.
But eventually, a battle will commence between 999 and the Scarlet King.
I heard that right. So, you mean to tell me, what does this kind of remind me of? It kind of feels like the Scarlet King is like, well, actually, the Scarlet King is supposed to be the embodiment of not cruelty. He was the embodiment of something. Basically, I feel like he's the embodiment of all evil, and SCP-9999 is the embodiment of all good. Um, Kind of like Kirby versus Margin Boo type shit.
You believe this tale, at least. But these SCPs and tales don't really give us a good idea of what the Scarlet King is. For a decent perspective, we can look at the tale titled Dust and Blood. The story speaks of the earliest times when the Elder Gods were first formed out of the darkness. One of these was named Karak, and he differed from the others by being cursed with awareness of his existence, and existence was pain. Angered by this awareness of pain, Karak decided that it would be better if he didn't exist, and more so, if nothing existed. Karak began feeding on the other gods, growing greater and stronger as he consumed them, but so did his pain and hate grow stronger as well. In time, Karak consumed or subjugated all the elder gods that didn't flee from him, and he became king of the darkness below. The area beyond his kingdom, the worlds of creation, went to war with Karak and his servants,
fuck is
which
that?
still continues to this day.
No,
Karak took a wife, becoming known as the Scarlet King in the process, and had 7 daughters with her. These 7 daughters became his 7 brides, and he placed 7 seals on them so that they would never die. These brides had children of their own, monstrous creations that served the Scarlet King. The tale implies that SCP-682, one of the most dangerous and fearsome entities held by the Foundation, is a child of the 4th bride.
Interesting.
Differing from the rest, however, the 7th bride was not utterly broken by the Scarlet King, and instead gave birth to heroes that walked on 2 legs and fought to overthrow the Scarlet King. Ultimately, however, the Scarlet King and his servants have continued their conquests, defeating any challengers, and will presumably one day destroy all of creation. When We Came Home, written by the same author as Dust and Blood, tells of the final battle against the Scarlet King, when 7 warriors carrying 7 sacred spears managed to kill the king and cast his body back into the abyss, restoring creation in the process. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention SCP-2317, an entity that many perceive to be at the very least related to the Scarlet King. The author of the skip, Dr. Clef, has said that it was not written to be related to the Scarlet King, merely reminiscent of it and SCP-231.
Yo, question, where are y'all getting this information from? Like, I know there's a lot of people that say I should react to Volgron videos, and I was. I am. But, again, I chose this video because Volgron video on the Scarlet King was like an hour long. Again, it's also old, and this was also damn well just as old, but it's shorter, so I figured this one would probably be better. But I do have other videos of Volgron that I've been checking out, possibly reacting to. But I think they said Volgron is a channel that legitimately is reading the files. Where y'all find these files from? Because, hell, I read the files my damn self. Like, where is it? Was it a website or something?
It's open enough for people to choose to believe what they wish. SCP-2317 is a massive, primeval entity located in an alternate universe and known to be a devourer of worlds. This entity was a grave threat and was finally captured by an order of mystics who crafted 7 chains from the bones and sinews of the devourer's 7th bride. 6 of these chains are currently broken, with the 7th likely to break within the next few decades. The Foundation has no means of fixing the chains, and no means of preventing the Devourer from entering our world once freed. A fake ritual was created by the Foundation leadership in order to suppress fears that they cannot contain the entity. This ritual incorporates various religious elements as well as phrases related to the Scarlet King. As this ritual is fabricated, there's no real evidence that 2317 has any connection to the Scarlet King, but a popular theory connects the 7 chains to the 7 girls from SCP-231.
So basically this whole video, we don't really know shit. I mean, I guess he did say that earlier about how like there is no head canon, But I guess he wasn't lying. Every single time he says something, it's like, well, at the same time, it may not be true. So I guess we don't know shit.
And when the 7th girl gives birth, the final chain will be broken. Finally, there is Tufto's proposal for SCP-001, titled The Scarlet King. The proposal describes the King as a largely unknown entity that exists in a number of dimensions simultaneously, but for whatever reason is unable to enter the prime dimension, that is, our dimension.
Okay.
The Foundation believes that the Scarlet King has been attempting to break into our dimension for hundreds of years, and if it ever succeeds, will cause a drastic alteration of reality or eradication of human life. Despite this threat, however, the Scarlet King is given the object class of safe, and the description states that containment is unnecessary.
Yeah, I remember how I said earlier in the video, I said this is a containment class to where they could be a legitimate threat to the universe and to everything, but not really, because, well, they just probably either can't do it because they don't exist in our universe, or they just don't want to, you know? I thought that the Scarlet King was a threat. He is ultimately going to destroy, like how you said, all of creation, but I guess these are just different multiple choice possible theories of the Scarlet King. I guess this one is saying that he is safe. I don't know.
The reason for this, of course, forms the bulk of the proposal, and is a bit more complicated than an average skip. The proposal also mentions SCP-231-7, and that high-ranking personnel are to be informed that it is in fact the Scarlet King, although the truth of that statement is unknown and likely dubious. The remainder of the proposal consists of a large number of lengthy documents and interviews, and I won't take up time going through them individually. To summarize, the proposal is focused around Dr. Robert Montauk, the project lead on SCP-231, 231-7, and the Scarlet King.
Okay.
Montauk has been working on studying the Scarlet King for decades, and has come no closer to truly understanding what it is. Montauk begins interviewing the leader of the cult that the SCP-231 girls come from, who turns out to be a fairly cryptic individual. One notable thing he mentions, however, is that there are 3 laws which must be understood in order to understand the Scarlet King.
And that is?
The law of blood, the law of concrete, and the law of howling.
What the fuck does that mean?
The law of blood was enacted by the Scarlet King, and it represents his rule, filled with hatred, cruelty, and an iron will. It is the old way of things, armies of slaves, blood rights, and chaos amidst order. The law of concrete is the inverse, modern civilization, where everything must be studied and understood so that it can be described, categorized, and filed away. The law of howling is the tension and clashing between these two opposites, and it is here that the Scarlet King takes form. The Scarlet King is ultimately an idea, but the tension between the pre-modern and the modern, the difference between the accepted and the understood, is what allows him to exist. Perhaps
okay, so the Scarlet King is less of an actual being and more of a concept in that case. Well, that makes him pretty dangerous.
The SCP Foundation itself is what caused this to happen, as the Foundation's drive to understand and categorize everything, in this case the Scarlet King, created the tension between what was previously just accepted, and so they created the Scarlet King.
Interesting, okay.
If SCP-231-7 gave birth, it would allow the Scarlet King to enter our dimension, and so Procedure 110 Montauk exists. Interestingly, the specifics of the procedure don't actually matter, so much as the fact that the procedure was created not out of scientific understanding, but out of hate and rage from Dr. Montauk. Dr. Montauk believed that the Scarlet King had taken his brother from him, and so he devised the procedure specifically to hurt the king, and that's why it works, because it follows the law of blood and not the law of concrete. The lessening of tension between the two prevents 231-7 from giving birth, and so the SCP Foundation has decided to change the classification of the Scarlet King to safe, and attempt to not worry as much about understanding and classifying the entity. In a twist on standard operating procedures, not understanding this anomaly is actually safer than understanding it. Ultimately,
I
however,
guess.
Dr. Montauk leaves the Foundation and joins the cult of the Scarlet King, as he saw the Foundation as a group of hollow men lacking a path, and he would rather take the wrong path than no path at all. If this proposal sounds complicated, that's because, well, it is, and it's likely I've misinterpreted some part of it, so I suggest reading it for yourself.
Please, I want to read it myself.
So, none of this really explains what the Scarlet King looks like, or how he'll devour our world or dimension, but that's part of the point. The mystery and ambiguity of a terrible godlike entity goes back to Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, and the Scarlet King is no different. Whether you think the Scarlet King is a human-like crimson entity, a massive whale, or something less tangible like an idea, the point remains that the Scarlet King is something deeply opposed to our current existence.
Okay, gotcha. 7 seals, 7 rings, 7 brides for the Scarlet King. They gather around the nattle bed, the foolish and wise. They fear the child yet to be born, whose voice shall rend the skies. The faithful watch the forest from the coming of the king. Their lanterns bright, they wait night for the new world he shall bring. Hidden text from the SCP-231 report. Gotcha. So in a very interesting way, this video would simultaneously answer my question and didn't answer my question. So we really don't know too much about the Scarlet King. Is he an idea? Is he this crimson guy? We really don't know. All we do know is the Scarlet King is some entity outside of our existence
that we don't want to fuck with.
Now that SCP that was talking about the lady who they can't allow to give birth, I actually did hear about her in some SCP video I reacted to. She does give birth and will open up a portal to the Scarlet King into our world. So I guess the reason why he was kind of saying that they marked the Scarlet King as safe is because I think it's less about the Scarlet King and more about that SCP that can't give birth. Because as long as you can stop her, you stop the Scarlet King. However, if you don't stop her and the Scarlet King does come to our existence, there's nothing you can do to stop the Scarlet King because he just is a godlike being and is too powerful. But the video I reacted to, they had another SCP more powerful than him, and that was like the Black Moon or something like that. Now, I don't know how true that is, the Black Moon is more powerful than the Scarlet King. So y'all gotta let me know in the comment section down below. Is the Black Moon or is there any SCP more powerful than the Scarlet King? And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't help me, but it helps you too. Why? So you see content similar to this one. If you guys did subscribe, me, I appreciate it a lot. If you guys didn't, I guess we'll part ways. Either way, I go out mine to keep it easy, and I'm gone. Peace.
That's all it is, man. Leap of faith.